everyone, this is Mushroom and welcome back to Ark Survival Evolved for a new mini-series that we're going to be doing before Ark Survival Ascended comes out called Be ASA Ready. So this video is going to be for everyone who decided to switch things up a little bit and try out PvP. It's for new players and it's for older PvP players who just want a little refresher on how things are going to be with primitive PvP. As we all know, when ASA comes out, there's going to be no server transfers and we're all just going to be on the island, so it's going to be old school PvP. So we are going to be getting back to our basics with some tips and tricks for PvP to make sure that you are starting out your ASA journey the right way. So let's get right into it with tip number 1 on creating a character. The best possible character that you can create will be female and as small as possible. That way, you will be fast and hard to hit. As well, during PvP, people will end up targeting legs as it's the easiest durability to break. So if you make your hands bigger to shield, when you're crouching down with a shield, it'll cover your legs. People typically make their characters with a darker complexion, that way they blend in a little bit better if you're able to secure a base in a cave, or even just a small darker rat hole. It's going to help you blend in a lot faster. Any second that you have when you see the other person before they see you is a second in your advantage. So tip number 2 is going to be the note run. So on the island, you can do a note run that should get your character up to about level 80. For this note run, you want to spawn in West Zone 2, and you will be able to make it to all of these notes just on foot. Just a note, make sure that you are not building around any of these areas along those routes. Just your base will be scouted very, very easily in this case. So tip number 3 is multiple caches. As we know on PvP, your stuff does not last very long. And the absolute best strategy to keeping your things, aside from uploading them to an obby, which we are not sure if that's going to be possible yet as server transfers will not be on, you want to make sure to put a small amount of loot boxes around the map so that one is destroyed, you won't be starting from the bottom. So these little caches can be just from one box to a 1x1 structure, and all that it'll have, depending on how well it's hidden, you can choose to spread out your good loot. And make sure that you are being selective on where you put the cache. As well, consider underwater locations. Vaults underwater can be noticeable, but a dermis holder underwater can be a lot less noticeable. So tip number 4, where to live. So for people who are not very familiar with PvP and where to build on PvP, a very common thing is to pull up a YouTube video on rat holes. But I would highly advise, if this is a strategy that you are going to use, try and find a video with a low view count, as a lot of PvPers will use these videos to actually scout out bases to raid. So even if you do not have the best spot, any base that you can keep hidden, even if it's in a little bit of a worse spot, is way better than a spot that is very well known that is very likely to get hit the first day. Tip number 5, don't be a bob. So as we know, building on beaches is very not recommended. It is very easy to spot. One tip that people don't often think about is don't tame on a beach either. If you see a parasaur or a pterodon or anything that you would like to tame, try and cart it as best as you can into the trees. Even if it's still a frequented location, anyone flying over the beach would be able to spot you very, very easily. Even if you have any tree cover whatsoever, that just gives you a little bit more of a chance to not be spotted. So yeah, if at all possible, try and cart your tame into the trees. As well, if you are going to be taming, try to not tame close to spawn areas. These spawn areas are going to be very, very frequented. As well, do not build a base near these spawn areas because they will be scouted and they will not last very long. try, if you're going to spawn in an area, and try and run out of it as soon as possible. Try and get closer to the center of the map, where you will be less likely to be spotted. Tip number 6 is building. So when building, despite whether you are in a hole, whether you are in a cave, or whether you are out in a noticeable area, just make sure to be mindful of your outlets / junction boxes that they are not showing. Someone can shoot arrows or fire arrows from a distance and destroy them to turn off your generator and turrets very easily. Remember to always stay small and stay hidden. There was a note from Wildcard that building could be changed in caves. We're not sure how that'll look, but there's a chance that building will end up being more out in the open. So this tip is more important than ever to make sure to hide your junction boxes and make sure that your turrets stay up. So tip number 7 is your settings. So this is just a quick tip. You can go into your settings and change the render distance to low. And the reason why you want to do this, if a survivor is hiding behind foliage and you're somewhat far away and you have your render distance set on low, you'll see the survivor but the foliage won't load in yet. As well, for those of us on PC, when you assign your key bindings, a big suggestion is to assign your gamma to the plus and minus buttons. This will help quite a bit if you're in a fight and you just really don't have a chance to stop and change your gamma. If the person that you are PvPing against does, then that just gives you the upper hand if they have to stop for a second and you do not. Tip number 8, make sure to upload anything that you can in drops rather than flying to obelisks. Especially early in the game, obbies are going to be hotspots for PvP ambushes. Most people will upload their best stuff, so there are going to be people waiting to try and ambush them while they're in the middle of uploading. So if you have a chance to fly to a drop, make sure that you try to do so. But as well as we know, transfers will not be open as soon as ASA begins, so we don't know if this will work, but it is just a tip if it does. And tip number 9 is items. So these are items that you want to keep on your person as much as you possibly can. And these are tips for PvE and for PvP. So always carry a bola, a parachute, and when Scorched Earth opens, a whip. The bola is going to be to trap other people who are around you or who are trying to bola you. A parachute in case you get picked by a pterodon, and a whip in case you do get picked, you can whip yourself off. As well, a very good item to carry on your hotbar is spikes. So if in the unfortunate event you do get bullied, you can put spikes around yourself, which gives you a second to cut the bolas, and someone will have to try and get through the spikes before they can attack you. If you're able to give yourself another second before they're able to get to you, it will be quite helpful. As well, on your hotbar, try to keep stim berries at all times, especially early, as people will try and trank you. And later on in the game, when you're able to make them, make sure to keep med brews on your hotbar as well. During PvP, when you don't have a chance to run away and heal, they will be very, very helpful. And I believe that cooked meat has a slight healing effect. So it's also a good idea to keep those on there as well. So those are all of the tips that I have for you guys today. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and there's going to be more coming out before Ark Survival Ascended does. So this is Mushroom, and if you liked it, please consider liking the video and subscribing to join the Mushroom Party. And I'll see you in the next one.